One American F-15E Strike Eagle gone, shot down over hostile airspace. The most advanced tactical strike jet in the U.S. arsenal destroyed. Rescue crews scrambled under fire. 2 airmen unaccounted for. Washington went silent for 6 full hours before issuing a single statement. Tonight, you will learn exactly how Iran pulled off the impossible, which weapons made it happen, and why the Pentagon's top brass are quietly terrified about what comes next. Tensions between the US and Iran did not appear overnight. They have been building for decades. Washington and Tehran have been circling each other like 2 fighters waiting for a bell. The clock has been ticking since 2019. That was the year Iran shot down a US Navy RQ-4A Global Hawk drone over the Strait of Hormuz. America did not strike back. Iran remembered that moment. Fast forward to late 2024. The US launched a new campaign of maximum pressure, sanctions tightened, Iranian oil exports choked, Iran's economy shrank. But Tehran did not bend. Instead, it upgraded its air defense network, quietly, methodically, without warning. Then came the strikes on Houthi positions across Yemen. American aircraft flew hundreds of sorties. F-15Es, F/A-18Es, and B-2 bombers all entered the regional picture. Iran watched every flight path. It tracked every frequency. It studied every route. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Air Defense Force was taking notes. The US believed Iran could threaten drones. America did not believe Iran could threaten a Strike Eagle. That was the miscalculation. That arrogance opened the door, and Iran walked straight through it. Here is the twist that nobody in Washington wants to say out loud. Iran did not act alone. What you are about to hear has not been fully confirmed by US Central Command. But here is what multiple regional intelligence sources have reported. On a night in early 2025, an F-15E Strike Eagle belonging to the 48th Fighter Wing out of RAF Lakenheath was operating in a strike support role. The aircraft carried 2 crew members, a pilot and a weapons systems officer. It was flying at approximately 25,000 feet. Speed was estimated at Mach 1.2. Then the missile hit. The aircraft did not explode instantly. Radar tracking showed the jet descending rapidly over roughly 90 seconds. Then the signal disappeared. 2 ejection seat activations were detected by rescue coordination assets. Search and rescue teams from the U.S. 83rd Expeditionary Rescue Squadron launched immediately. They flew into a contested zone under fire. 1 crew member was recovered with critical injuries. The 2nd crew member's status remained classified for 72 hours. The Pentagon issued a brief statement. It confirmed 1 aircraft lost. It gave no weapon attribution. It gave no location specifics. Washington called it an ongoing operational incident. That phrase alone sent shockwaves through military circles. Now here's where the story becomes deeply alarming. The missile system believed responsible is the Bavar 373. This is Iran's domestically developed long-range surface-to-air missile system. Tehran unveiled it in 2019. Western analysts originally dismissed it as propaganda hardware. They said it was inferior. They called it a pale imitation of the Russian S-300. They were wrong. The Bavar 373 carries a radar system designated Mirage 4. Effective detection range reaches approximately 300 kilometers. Engagement range against aerial targets sits between 200 and 250 kilometers. The missile itself accelerates to speeds exceeding Mach 4. It can engage targets at altitudes up to 27,000 meters. It is designed specifically to defeat low observable tactics and electronic jamming. The F-15E carries the AN/ALQ-135 internal countermeasure set and can be equipped with the AN/ALQ-184 jamming pod. In theory, these systems should have degraded the Iranian radar lock. In practice, they did not. Either the Iranian system adapted, or the jamming was insufficient, or, and this is a scenario that terrifies analysts, Iran received external targeting data. Here is a detail that leaked through 2 separate European intelligence briefings. In the 48 hours before the shootdown, unusual encrypted communications were detected between Iranian air defense nodes and an undisclosed third-party source. The signals analysis pointed toward a sophisticated relay architecture. This was not a simple radio call. This was a coordinated, pre-planned data exchange. The suspicion among NATO analysts landed on Russia, specifically on the possibility that Russian aerospace forces shared real-time electronic intelligence from their assets operating over Syria. Russia maintains the Khmeimim Air Base in Latakia province, Syria. From that position, Russian sensor platforms have full visibility into regional flight corridors. They have tracked American aircraft for years. If that data was passed to Iran in real time, then the F-15E crew never had a chance. Neither Moscow nor Tehran has confirmed any coordination. But silence from both governments, when both would normally rush to deny involvement, speaks volumes. The absence of denial is itself a form of admission. The recovery operation was not clean, not even close. The 83rd Expeditionary Rescue Squadron launched two H-860W Jolly Green II helicopters. Each aircraft carried a team of pararescue jumpers, PJs trained to operate in exactly this kind of hostile environment. The H-860W has a combat radius of approximately 460 kilometers with aerial refueling. It carries defensive systems including the AN/AAR-57 missile warning system and the AN/ALQ-213 electronic warfare management system. But the Iranian ground forces in the region had anticipated a rescue. Small armed units were pre-positioned along likely approach corridors. The helicopters took small arms fire and at least one rocket-propelled grenade engagement on their approach. One H-860W sustained damage to its tail rotor assembly. It completed the extraction but landed hard at a forward operating location. 3 pararescue men were treated for injuries. One sustained a wound classified as serious. The recovered airman was evacuated to the U.S. military's Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. His injuries were described as severe but survivable. The second crew member, and what happened to the second crew member, is the question hanging over this entire story like a storm cloud. At the 9:30 mark of this story, we need to stop and ask one critical question. If Iran can shoot down an F-15E and survive the aftermath with no retaliatory strike, what does it try to shoot down next? Let us start with the aircraft that was lost. The F-15E Strike Eagle is one of the most capable strike platforms ever built. It was designed by McDonnell Douglas, now Boeing, and entered service with the U.S. Air Force in 1988. The airframe has been continuously upgraded for nearly 4 decades. Its top speed is Mach 2.5, approximately 2,655 kilometers per hour at altitude. Combat radius reaches 1,270 kilometers without aerial refueling. It can carry up to 10,400 kilograms of mixed ordnance. That includes GBU-28 bunker busters, AGM-65 Maverick missiles, AIM-120 AMRAAMs for self-defense, and GBU-39 small-diameter bombs. The jet is designed to fly fast, fly low if necessary, and deliver precision strikes in highly contested airspace. It has a 2-crew system, pilot and weapons systems officer, which gives it unmatched situational awareness compared to single-seat aircraft. The AN/APG-70 radar gives it ground mapping and air-to-air capability simultaneously. But here is the critical vulnerability that leaked analysis from a classified RAND Corporation study from 2023 touched upon, and this was later referenced in an unclassified summary released to select congressional staff members. The F-15E was never designed to penetrate modern integrated air defense systems without significant electronic warfare escort or suppression of enemy air defense support. Flying it into a zone defended by a Bavar 373 battery without a dedicated Wild Weasel package, that is, without an F-16CJ or EA-18G Growler providing jamming and radar destruction, is an extremely high-risk proposition. Against the Bavar 373 specifically, the F-15E's self-protection systems are rated at a degraded effectiveness level. The probability of a successful Iranian intercept, given optimal Iranian radar conditions and without U.S. jamming support, has been estimated by defense analysts at between 34 and 41% per engagement. That is not a comfortable margin. Now turn your attention to the weapon that allegedly brought the Eagle down. The Bavar 373 is Iran's most sophisticated air defense asset. Development began after the U.S. embargoed Iran from purchasing the Russian S-300 system. Iran could not buy the weapon it wanted, so it built its own. That decision took 15 years and cost an estimated $800 million in development investment. The system uses a phased array radar that can track up to 100 targets simultaneously and engage 6 targets at once. Its missile, the Sayyad-4, has an estimated kill range of 200 kilometers against large aerial targets and approximately 120 kilometers against fast-maneuvering targets like fighter jets. It operates in multiple frequency bands, which makes it resistant to narrowband jamming, the type most American fighter-mounted pods produce. The system is fully mobile, mounted on heavy transport vehicles, and can be relocated within 30 minutes of firing, making counter-battery strikes extremely difficult. Compared to the Russian S-300 PMU-2, the gold standard for medium to long-range air defense, the Bavar 373 is estimated to reach approximately 80 to 85% of equivalent capability. That is not parity, but it is close enough to be lethal. And against a target flying without full escort support, 80% is more than sufficient. The rescue helicopter deserves analysis as well because its near loss may be as strategically significant as the aircraft shootdown itself. The HH-60W entered U.S. Air Force service officially in 2022, replacing the aging HH-60G Pavehawk. It is built on the Sikorsky Black Hawk platform, the same foundational airframe used across the U.S. military, but fitted with a combat search and rescue mission package that makes it substantially more survivable than its predecessor. The HH-60W has a combat radius of 460 kilometers with one aerial refueling contact. It carries the advanced digital avionics system, the AN-ARC-210 multiband radio suite, and directional infrared countermeasures to defeat heat-seeking missiles. Its crew typically numbers 4, 2 pilots, and 2 combat systems officers, plus the pararescue team in the cabin. Against Iranian ground forces armed with portable anti-aircraft systems, specifically the Misag-2, Iran's shoulder-launched infrared-guided missile, the HH-60W's countermeasure suite provides meaningful but not absolute protection. The Misag-2 has a range of approximately 5 kilometers and can engage targets up to 4,000 meters altitude. At low altitude on a rescue approach, the helicopter's window of vulnerability is significant. The fact that one aircraft took damage and recovered is a testament to its design. The fact that it took damage at all confirms that the Iranians had pre-planned the rescue interdiction. In the less severe outcome, Washington absorbs this loss quietly. Diplomatic back channels open. Iran agrees to return the remains or body of the missing crew member in exchange for sanctions relief on a narrow category of humanitarian goods. The U.S. responds with a targeted Tomahawk cruise missile strike against a specific Bavar 373 battery responsible for the shootdown. The strike is surgical. Casualties are limited. Tehran protests loudly but does not escalate. The incident becomes a footnote, a painful one, but the region does not ignite. Both sides find a face-saving exit. The clock on this scenario runs approximately 30 days before one side is forced to make a public move. The window is closing fast. Now here is the scenario that keeps generals awake at night. The missing crew member is alive. Iran has him. Tehran uses him as a bargaining chip, publicly. State television broadcasts footage. The political pressure on Washington becomes unbearable. Congress demands action. The White House authorizes a strike package targeting Iranian air defense infrastructure. Not just one battery, but the entire integrated system. That means strikes on Bandar Abbas, on Isfahan, on radar installations across 3 provinces. Iran retaliates immediately. It activates Hezbollah in Lebanon. Ballistic missiles launched toward U.S. assets in Qatar, specifically Al Udeid Air Base, home to the 379th Air Expeditionary Wing and the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command. The USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group in the Red Sea goes to full combat alert. Iran begins mining the Strait of Hormuz. Within 72 hours, 21% of the world's daily oil supply is threatened. Markets collapse. Allies demand restraint. America has already committed. The countdown to a broader war reaches 0 in under 2 weeks. The question is no longer whether a response is coming. It is whether anyone can stop the response from becoming something that cannot be undone. Here is the revelation this entire story has been building toward. Iran did not just shoot down an F-15E. Iran proved something. It proved that American air superiority, the assumption that has underpinned every U.S. military operation since 1991, is no longer guaranteed. Every mission planner in the Pentagon must now reconsider every flight route over every Iranian-influenced airspace. That is not a tactical problem. That is a strategic earthquake. The missing crew member, reportedly recovered by Iranian ground forces, changes this from a military incident into a hostage crisis. And hostage crises do not end cleanly. They end politically. They end slowly. They end with someone giving something away. The F-15E that was lost cost $87.7 million. It can be replaced. The crew members inside it cannot be replaced. And the confidence that American jets could fly over Iran's sphere of influence without serious risk, that confidence is gone. It will not return without a direct confrontation. Here's the clear verdict. Iran wins the tactical engagement. America absorbs a wound it was not prepared to absorb. The loser tonight is not just a single airframe. The loser is the doctrine of unchallenged American air dominance in the Middle East. The world changed the night that Eagle fell from the sky. Iran has proven it can touch American hardware. But what happens when China decides to apply this same lesson in the Pacific? We are already tracking movements around Taiwan that should make every defense analyst deeply uneasy. If Iran's playbook spreads east, what does that mean for the 7th Fleet? If you want to understand what comes next, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications because the next video will show you the weapon China is already preparing for that exact scenario. Do not miss it.